I'm actually here at the end of the first day of CompTIA's ChannelCon 2023, and I thought I'd give you a recap of what is going on and why I go to some of these things. So, for those of you who are aware, those of you who aren't aware, I suppose, CompTIA is probably the largest and most powerful organization in terms of promoting the IT profession that is not vendor aligned. They're most known for a lot of their certifications, Network Plus, A Plus, so on and so forth. But they also do a lot of things to promote the industry, and they're very, very great at creating content and lousy at informing people about the content exists or where it is. So I'm actually on one of their advisory groups. It's actually the Channel Development Advisory Council that is working on creating additional content and hopefully doing a better job of telling the rest of the world where that is. And this is one of the quarterly meetings, as well as it serves as CompTIA's annual meeting. So it's here in Las Vegas, and I am at the charming Venetian Hotel. I can't even tell where I'm at. I tell you, I've been to Vegas a ton of times. First of all, I'm not a Vegas person. I don't gamble. I don't really do the shows and all that kind of fun stuff. The Venetian is convoluted to get around. And if you've been to Vegas, a lot of places are. Venetian throws them all aside. Anyway, but it's a nice place. And I tell you, the rooms are nice. And moving on. So, for the first day, I actually spent about 6 hours or so, all told, on this advisory council with preliminary meetings and then going over with our team. Our team started with about 15 people, then we broke into groups. And you'll hear more about that later this year. But actually, one of the things that we're going to be doing is putting together a series of webinars that are essentially helping managed service providers such as Simplex-IT face some unpleasant truths and realities of their organizations, talking about things. It's basically, we're calling it the Tough Love series, and you'll hear more about that going on. So we're going to be recording our first episode, I think, tomorrow, and it'll be interesting. And we've got, I think, what is going to be a funny twist to it. So that was a good part of today. What I also did was I talked to a couple of vendors, specifically on some of the security training aspect of things. Also talking with our legal counsel, Brad Gross, and coming up with some ideas of how to better utilize the services and better communicate what the services are, both for ourselves and for other managed service providers. By the way, we've got those of you who are managed service providers, we are the organization that provides some or all of the IT support to our clients. And also talk to a couple of other vendors that we're using, and essentially just to make sure we're on the same page. And for those of you who aren't aware, our tech director, Kevin Dukavich, left for better opportunities. Absolutely, for 13 years he was with us, and essentially talking with the vendors who we had relations with to reinforce the fact that we're still here, and in fact I think we're going to end up being, I hate to say stronger for it, but we're definitely healthy and doing well. Anywho, so we use that opportunity to have a conversation with some of the vendors. Also talk to some startup vendors and giving them some advice about what is the best way to engage this industry and to develop their goods and services in a better way, in a more effective way. One on the cloud-based firewalls in particular. I had a long conversation. We were talking about some of the best deployment methods. Also talk with people from like HP, ConnectWise, other vendors as far as things that they're doing. And then, of course, talk to other MSPs, other managed service providers like ourselves. I talked to a couple who were just getting into the co-managed world. Of course, that's something we're very familiar with, giving some advice as far as that goes, and a couple of startups who often, when someone starts a new managed service provider, they get advice from people who have been doing it for a long time. That's great, but in a lot of cases, the advice, what we did in 2007 as a startup would not work in 2023. So just because we did it back then doesn't mean you should do it today. And I had a really good conversation with an MSP, a new MSP who's starting now, and we were talking about what would you do differently because of it being 2023. That was a cool conversation, and hopefully they got value from it. And also just started preparing for I will actually be co-presenting a panel presentation on two workshops. The first one is going to be strategic workforce planning for MSPs, which is basically going to talk about hiring strategies. How do you make sure that you're getting the appropriate group and appropriate hires and the like. I'm going to be one of two panelists for that. And then on Thursday, I'll be creating killer social media videos. Because as you know, because you're watching one right now, we do a lot of video content creation. And how do we do that? And how do we try to make it so that it's not salesy, but we are creating the brand and brand awareness and the like. So because we're always learning, always sharing, that's one of our value propositions, but it's not just for other employees of Simplex-IT. It's not just for our clients, but it's also for our industry, even our competitors. So that's who we are, and that's what we do. Anywho, are you at ChannelCon? If so, put some comments here, or reach out and using the app or the like, or if you're at ChannelCon and you're watching this afterwards, reach out to me. Always happy to talk to other folks and the like. And we'll see if schedule permits. I'll do another one of these on Wednesday and Thursday because it's a 3-day conference. So, Bob Coppage, Crash Geo Geek. Catch y'all later.